I'm taking care of a local farm for a few weeks. They left me a strange set of rules. A few miles north of me, there's a little family-owned farm. The family takes a vacation in July though, and they posted a job listing for a caretaker. My job would include feeding the animals, making sure the irrigation is working, and harvesting some crops. It's a small operation, so it's not fields and fields of stuff. Plus, they were offering $2,000. At the time, that seemed like an amazing deal. Now, I'm not so sure. See, the Gershons left me detailed instructions in the envelope, along with half of the stipend. And as I sat down to read it, I realized that it sounded a little strange. Dear Emily, thank you for taking care of our farm. To ensure your safety and happiness, and the animals, we've included a list of instructions and tasks. 1. Please feed the goats and chickens at 6 a.m. sharp. They get pretty cranky if it's not on time. 2. You will need to prune off the branches in the raspberry patch. To do this, cut the canes that are woody and have already fruited. Wear thick gloves because there are thorns. If you do get cut, immediately head inside and call Dr. Livesey to make sure your wound is not infected. 3. The sunflower field is easier to maintain. However, if you ever see a sunflower that isn't facing the same direction as the others, immediately head inside. Do not return to the sunflower field until the following day. 4. The farm is, as you know, surrounded by forest. Sometimes we get coyotes, foxes, or other wild animals prowling about the grounds at night. Don't worry. The animal pens are completely secure, and there is no need to check on the animals if you hear anything at night. In fact, we recommend you do not leave the farmhouse between sunset and sunrise. 5. Do not enter the corn maze. Even if you hear noises coming from the maze that sound like a child crying, do not enter. The corn maze is not open to visitors yet. It's most likely the bobcats in the woods. 6. Do not be alarmed if you see the goats awake in the middle of the night. They are semi-nocturnal and often wake up to roam, graze, or use the bathroom. 7. You may help yourself to any of the fruits or vegetables you harvest, however, do not eat the apples from the northwest corner of the orchard. 8. We no longer use scarecrows. If you see one, please return to the house, lock all the doors, and close all the curtains. Stay inside until the following morning. 9. Make sure to always stock the farm stand twice a day, in the morning, and again in the afternoon. At night, take all unsold produce inside and store it in the refrigerator. 10. We do not own any pigs. Thank you so very much, Emily. The Gershons. I glanced out the window. The sun was hanging low over the trees, orange rays filtering through the forest. Damn it, if I'm not supposed to be out after dark because of the wolves or whatever, I better get cracking. I walked over to the goats first. They huddled close to me as I filled their food bins, staring at me with their weird slit pupils. I tried to get it done as quickly as possible. The chickens were more skeptical of me, staring at me and letting out long clucks as they bobbed their heads. As soon as they realized I had food though, they came over and pecked the ground. They were pretty cute, actually. As I locked the gate and turned back towards the house, I froze. Across the field from me stood the field of sunflowers. Bright golden petals and dark centers, swaying slightly in the wind. But while all of them tilted away from me, facing the dying sun, one of them, near the edge of the field, was instead facing me. I stared at its pitch-black center. Didn't the note say something about that? Go inside, if one of the sunflowers is pointing a different way? I locked up the chicken gate. Then I strode across the grass towards the old farmhouse, still carrying the bag of chicken feed. I was halfway to the house when I turned around again. I wish I hadn't. The sunflower was still facing me. Even though, based on my path, it shouldn't have been. I picked up my pace towards the house. Oh, come on, what do you think's gonna happen? That sunflower is gonna chase after you and murder you? My brain knew it was stupid, but there was something instinctual, a gut feeling, that forced my legs to pump harder. I didn't even bother dropping the feed off at the shed. I raced into the house and locked all the doors. Phew. Safe. I took a final glance out at the sunflower. Then I went into the tiny kitchen and started boiling water for pasta. By the time I was sitting down to eat, I was shaking my head. So stupid. Afraid of a sunflower. Something woke me up in the middle of the night. I sat up, my neck aching from the crappy pillow they'd left for me. I looked around my tiny bedroom, but nothing seemed amiss. Well, of course there were things amiss, like the peeling paint and the light bulb that flickered and the clogged toilet. But nothing different. I yawned and checked my phone. 3:12 a.m. Sighing, I settled back into sleep. But before I drifted off, I heard it. A small, high-pitched noise. Coming from outside. I slowly forced myself out of bed and walked over to the window. Underneath me, the farm sprawled out into the darkness, but it was distorted in the old glass window, shapes and colors bleeding into each other like running paint. I flipped the window lock and pushed it open, the wood squeaking loudly in my ears. I listened. Silence. Then, "Help me!" A voice. A child's voice. Coming from the direction of the cornfield. That was definitely no bobcat. My blood ran cold. I stared out into the darkness, at the cornfield on the edge of the woods, hoping that it was just some lingering dream or something. But as I stood there, the cool summer breeze wafting into the room, I heard it again. "Please! Help me!" The voice wavered, as if the child was crying. I squinted into the darkness, staring at the cornfield. I have to go out there. I remembered the Gershon's rule, but there was no way this was an animal. "Hey! I'm coming, don't worry!" I shouted out the window. Silence. And then a rustling sound. I squinted at the cornfield, and I could see the stalks moving, as something moved within them. "Stay where you are!" I shouted into the darkness. "I'm coming to get you!" The cornstalks continued to move, and every muscle in my body froze. The amount of corn moving, there was no way it was just a small child in there. The corn was swaying, dancing, roiling in an area maybe 10 feet across. And it was making its way towards the edge of the field. Rapidly. I shut the window. Then I closed the blinds, my heart hammering in my chest. I raced downstairs and checked the locks. And then, finally, when I was sure I was safe, I called the police. But they wouldn't even come out. "There are no missing children in the area, and what you saw was most likely a bear," they explained calmly. I think they must know all about the Gershon's farm. So now I lie here, in my bed, listening to snaps and rustles of the cornstalks. There is a chair wedged under my doorknob. I've triple-checked all the locks. And all I can do is wait for dawn.